Hello and welcome to Professionally Speaking. My name is Rahan Ali Muhammad, your host for today. And today we want to dive into, I think, a passion that many women have, I think, from a young age. Being a makeup artist, I know a lot of women use makeup, and I think some people have always wanted to, do it on other people, make it a career. So with me today, I have Roopa Khatri, a makeup artist based in Nairobi, Kenya. And yeah, welcome, Rupa.
Hi, Rehan. Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, no, thank you. So first, I just wanna ask you to maybe like give an introduction about yourself, your education, what did you do, and then yeah, we can start from there.
Okay, so I've actually been a practicing hair and makeup artist in Nairobi for I think maybe the last 7 or so years. My educational background actually has absolutely nothing to do with makeup artistry. I actually have a degree in marketing and international business. And makeup artistry is just a passion, and I don't actually have any traditional qualification, so to speak, in the makeup scene. I am entirely self taught on that. So, yeah, that's a little bit about my educational background.
So you mentioned that you don't have sort of maybe a degree, as maybe people would say, in makeup
Mhm.
artist. Is there, like, let's say, if someone wants to become a makeup artist today, do they is there maybe courses they can take, a university that maybe they can go to?
There's lots and lots and lots of available courses. There's very many options, but it's not exactly a requirement for this industry. Some of the best makeup artists that I know and the most talented are actually self-taught. So I think it's more of a passion and an art than something that you can actually learn. If you don't have it, you don't have it in you, and if you have it, you have it. I feel like it's one of those things.
So for you, you feel that to become a makeup artist, you need to have passion. It's not something that can be taught. All right. So I want to move in basically towards like the how long did it take for you to be a self-taught or makeup artist?
I can't exactly give you an exact time frame considering makeup has been something that I've been super passionate about, and I've always loved makeup and dressing up and everything from a very very young age, probably from the time I was like 5 years old. And watching my mom get ready every day, and like I just sort of had that passion towards it from that age. And then as I grew up, I was always like, oh, I want to wear makeup, I want to wear makeup. And that's just sort of how it started. And even I can't exactly pinpoint a particular point where I was like, okay, I want to do this professionally, so I want to start preparing. It was sort of like an overnight decision for me, because I would often do my friends makeup if we're going out or something like that. And from there, suddenly one day I was just like, you know what, I'm actually really good at this, and I should actually pursue this and see where it goes. And you know what, worked out well for me. So it was pretty much like an overnight decision for me.
So there's no sort of educational background, or basically you just like, I mean,
I would say
can
my
you?
education for it started literally when I was 5, because I've been into it probably since the age of 5. So I started picking up little things, not realizing how much I was sort of, absorbing. And it was more of just like, oh, I just want to dress up and I just want to look a certain way and I want to do this and I want to do that. And then, eventually I just realized I know so much about it and I can actually apply it not only on myself, but on others.
So, if I'm not mistaken, you have done courses on teaching other people how to do makeup and all.
Mhm.
Generally, let's say from a beginner's level, how long would it take to maybe get to maybe not your stage, but someone that can professionally do it?
So, for the courses that I personally teach, I actually teach more self application as compared to professional courses. But the professional courses that I do offer is literally just a week. So, it's a week. And then after that, you just have to practice, 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 practice. So I can only teach you for so long, because there's only a certain amount of things that I can explain to you, after which you sort of have to learn a way to apply it yourself. And within a week, you can cover that. A week, 2 weeks, depending on how quick or how slow you may learn. And then after that, you just have to practice, practice, practice. If you're an absolute beginner, you would need at least a good 2 months of serious practice to be able to, do a somewhat decent job.
So, I mean, let's say to put it on a timeline, you could say maybe around 6 months to a year,
3 to 6 months.
to
3 to 6 months
three to
of
six
good
months. All right.
practice is, I think, enough if you're serious about it. If you're just going to, do it just as a by the way, or you're not serious about it, then even 2 years in and you still will be going absolutely nowhere.
So I think what I'm getting from what you're saying is you really need to be sort of focused and passionate about getting into it.
Exactly, because it's not a typical 9 to 5 where you're like, okay, I'm going to wake up at a certain time. At 9 o'clock I'm at the office and 5 o'clock I'm out. It's not like that. It's early mornings, it's weekends, it's not only just the actual part where you're with your client. It's a lot of cleanup behind the scenes, it's a lot of rearranging your kit, it's a lot of making sure everything is a certain way behind the scenes before you get to your client. And it does take over a lot of your time, it takes over a lot of your life. So if you're not ready to like put that in, then it's not for you.
So I want to ask you, why did you become a makeup artist? I mean, there's so many other careers out there.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, you can become a doctor, a pilot, whatever. But why makeup artist?
I think when I realized that there's actually quite a big, rather at that time, there was quite a big gap in the market, was around the time my sister got married. And we really struggled to find, a decent makeup artist at the time. And we came across a couple. And then during the actual event, we had a few issues here and there where timelines were not met, and my sister wasn't like as satisfied as she expected to be, or sort of. And then when I sort of saw the work that was being provided, I was like, you know what, like, I can't believe this is something that we're actually paying this money for, because I'm actually not qualified at this point and I can do a better job than this. And I think I sort of started thinking of it about it as, like, a potential profession when I saw that. So I was like, you know what, there's actually some potential here. And then after that, like, I would notice when I would do my friends makeup and whatever, that I actually did a really good job. So I'm like, why am I not pursuing this? Because this is something that makes me so happy. And I can actually pursue it in a way that I can reach more people, and it can also be a profession.
So, I mean, you talked about, sort of, your sister's wedding and being good at it and friends. I wanted to ask, did you have maybe a plan before becoming a makeup artist? Because, I mean, in your education, you pursued in marketing. So, was maybe your plan before you found out that you're really good at makeup, to go and market somewhere for a company or something?
So makeup artistry is not my full-time job. I do work with my family as well. So that was always something that I was going to do anyway. So that's sort of why I pursued the marketing and international business degree, because that's something that I did plan on applying at work, at the office, the traditional work, which I still do apply. So yeah,
So, your degree still does help you till now.
it helps me to a certain extent, because I qualified, I think, about a good 10 years ago. So, having graduated like 10 years ago, marketing 10 years ago, and marketing today, I mean, it's two very different things. So, some of the things that we learned may still apply slightly, but the fact of the matter is that marketing has changed so severely. The world has changed so much in the last 10 years that there's not a lot of that can still apply in today's world. So, I feel like what I learn on the job is a lot more helpful than what I personally learned in a classroom.
I, I mean, it's, your life is, a whole story, like, you started off going into marketing and then you ended up on, becoming a makeup artist. So it's a really interesting sort of story.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, are you happy with your career? Are you happy being a makeup artist? Are you happy, spending time going to people's houses at events and all?
Yeah, no, definitely. I definitely would say I'm happy for me because it's more of a passion than anything else. I find it very fulfilling. I feel like, when you work with a bride and at the end of the day when they're so happy and you're sort of a part of everyone's special day. And I really enjoy that. Like, you meet so many amazing people, you make fantastic connections, you build friendships, relationships. And yeah, I personally really enjoy it. And when you work with nice people, the appreciation that they have for your work at the end of it is worth it for me more than anything else.
So I want to go into something that I think many people consider or may consider when getting into a career is pay. On average, what does makeup artists maybe around the globe or in Kenya get paid?
So this varies so severely from person to person. You have makeup artists here that will provide a service for, say, 2,000 shillings. You have others that will provide it for 6 or 7,000 shillings. Others that will provide it for 20,000. So it sort of depends on where you want to place yourself on the spectrum, what your sort of target market is, what sort of products you're using. The Kenyan market doesn't quite pay what I'd say the service is worth, especially like I'd say for myself, because my products are of fantastic quality, so naturally they're not cheap. My kit is huge, it's extensive. I mean, I don't think there's anything you can't find in it. Everything under the sun you will find in my kit. I will literally rock up to an appointment with 6 bags. So, sometimes I feel like it may not be financially, it doesn't always make sense financially in this part of the world. There's other parts of the world, like in the UK, you can charge up to, £500, £1,000. Some people even go up to £1,500 for a bridal makeup. Whereas here, you would sort of, be at around the 20,000 to 30,000 mark for bridal hair and makeup, which it may sound a lot when you hear it like this, but when you sort of take into account everything that you have spent to firstly be there, your fuel, your time, everything, at the end of the day, it's not, I wouldn't say it's a very financially lucrative profession at this point. Like, it's enough to sustain yourself, but it may not be enough to sustain a family, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I get what you're
That's
saying.
why most
I mean,
makeup artists around here you will find are all part-time makeup artists like myself. Like, it's more of a passion and a hobby for myself, and my main focus and my main career is my traditional 9 to 5, and this is more of a passion and a hobby, but still generates a decent income.
so you mentioned about, having another sort of job. Do you think that if someone, were to get into the makeup industry in maybe Kenya, for example, do you think they would also need to have another job to be maybe financially stable?
I think definitely you would need something else. The other thing also with makeup artistry is the fact that it is highly, highly seasonal. So, like around this time of year, it's super busy, which is why, I mean, it's 8 p.m., 8:30 rather, and I look like I'm ready to go to bed because I really am, because that's just what this time of year is like. It's crazy, it's hectic. You're working long days, you're just constantly busy. And then probably from around mid-September, you'll find your calendar is quite empty up until early November. So for that moment, you obviously need something else which is a lot more constant, so that you can sort of know that, okay, X amount is coming in, and you can't just be sitting around waiting that, oh, let's see if a booking comes in, because honestly, that's just it's not a nice place to be.
Yeah, and I think even the high cost of living has
Exactly.
also affected that. So, as we talk about basically, uh, what your how life is now being a makeup artist, I want to move a bit into the future. We all know about artificial intelligence, chat GPT, robots and all. What's your view on it?
In this industry for the foreseeable future, I mean, I don't really think it plays too much of a part, because the service that we're providing is so personalized, and it's such a It's a very one-on-one. You're interacting very closely with your client. So at this point, I don't see it being much of an issue. Maybe, in the further ahead future, possibly. I mean, maybe you can just hire a robot to do your makeup instead. But I think it's still a long way until it can be widely available enough and also affordable enough for people to choose that as compared to this. And the human interaction that comes between your makeup artist and your bride on the day is also, it's also quite an important interaction, because you play more than just the person decking up the bride. You help calm them down, you put them in a better mood. If there's other little things that may come up, like sometimes you may even find yourself like helping the bride put on her shoe because her outfit is so huge and there's no way she can bend to actually close her shoe, so you're there helping her put on her shoe. So I feel like that's something that, I mean, I don't think AI is going to be doing anytime soon.
So, I mean, do you fear that AI maybe could take your job in, in the future?
I mean, if it's like 20 years down the line, I probably don't even think I'll be doing this anymore. So I'm not worried about it.
Okay, interesting. I mean, I've heard a lot of people say, AI is going to take over the world, robots are going to come and do everything for us.
Hmm.
But I mean, makeup artists, what if maybe, they open up a salon where you just go, you walk in, sit in a chair, you just choose from your phone what you want, and then the robot just does it for you.
I just don't see that happening in the near future. And even if it happens, I don't see it being affordable enough for it to be widely available, especially not in this market for a very long time. And especially not in this part of the world for a long time.
So, I mean, many people have had that passion. I mean, you're one of them to become a makeup artist. So, when you were maybe joining, the field, is it competitive? Is it very hard to get into it?
So the point at which I got into this, which was a long time ago, there was a huge gap in the market, and what I was bringing to the market at that point, not a lot of people were. Now, a lot of people are. A lot of people obviously see that there's room in the market and then they want to like jump right in, and as a result of that, it is a very saturated market. There is a lot of competition, but I feel like everyone has a personal touch to offer. Like we all like have our own little unique style, and a client will come to you based off of that, and they will like the uniqueness that you're offering and they'll come for that, and they may like something someone else is offering and they'll go to them for that. So I feel like as much as it is a very saturated market, it is a very competitive market today, but I feel like there's still room for everyone.
So, you mentioned, people having their own uniqueness. Is it like, maybe like, let's say if you're called for a bridal makeup, does this like happen where maybe you'll be called for the makeup and someone else will be called for the hair?
Yeah, yeah, that happens all the time.
So it's not something like where maybe you're only called for bridal for the makeup and the hair as per se.
No, no, it's entirely up to the client. If they want me to do both, I'm happy to. If they prefer somebody else doing the hair, that's perfectly fine, and I'll focus on makeup. I actually prefer focusing on just makeup. So I actually don't do hair only bookings, anyways, because hair is not my forte, makeup is. So yeah.
So you mentioned earlier about like 20 years down the line you might not be in the career.
Mhm.
Would you stay in the career, you know?
Probably not at that point. I may stay on in the form of a teacher. I may teach others. I may do the one off here and there. But I just don't think at that point it's something that I would be able to do, because physically it's very, very taxing. It's very exhausting. You find yourself constantly tired physically as a result of it. And at this point my life is in a place where, I mean, I have the luxury to be able to do this. I have the luxury to leave the house at like 6 in the morning, not worry about what's happening, come back whenever I finish my bookings, not have to worry about any other like domestic responsibilities, so to speak. But at that point in life, maybe I'd have to worry about those things. And also physically, I don't think I would be able to like keep this up, because I mean, even at this point, you'll find days where I'm like, oh my God, my back is really hurting. So I'm thinking 10 years down the line or 15 years down the line, I don't think my body can hack it any longer because it is very, very, very taxing.
So you mentioned about maybe like it being very tiring and draining. Do you think people, mothers, families that are, running families, do you think they are able to maybe, get into the field?
I know a lot of people who are mothers and still manage to do this, and I really, really admire because I don't know how. I don't know how they do it. They do it. They may not do it as often as I do or as much as I do. I know they're a lot more selective with their hours because of other commitments, but you know what? Like, I don't know how they do it. They do it. There's a few that do, and hats off to them.
So, and also you also mentioned that, you are able to leave at 6 a.m. in the
Mhm.
morning. As we know, in Kenya, there are currently ongoing protests for high cost of living. Has that maybe affected you as a makeup artist, maybe going out to customers in terms of safety and all?
So I have had the odd one or two cancellation because of the current protests, but that's about it. Because mostly my work is more so Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The weeks are not so busy, but also most of my clients are around Westlands, and my travel is not too much to them around Westlands, Parklands, so we can still manage. The one or two clients that have had to cancel have been clients that are like probably on Lavington sides or Hurlingham sides, and then they'd have to come across. So for safety, they've actually cancelled, but it hasn't happened often, but it has happened. And yeah, hopefully things settle down soon because if not, then it's probably bound to happen more. And also because makeup artistry, I mean, definitely qualifies as a luxury. If things keep going this way, then it is one of the things that people, I think, would cut back on before they would think of cutting back on other things because it's far from a necessity. Having your makeup done is not a necessity.
So you mentioned about how, it's like a struggle and all, for people, canceling and all due to maybe living far and of course for safety concerns. Does maybe canceling and booking, really last minute, does that affect you as a makeup
Oh,
artist?
yeah, it definitely does. So, in a normal situation, I actually normally have a contract which has a cancellation policy, which states very clearly that if you cancel, your deposit is non refundable. And if you cancel last minute, then most certainly you're still going to be charged for the whole appointment, even though you're not really getting the service. But as a last minute cancellation, because I have blocked off that slot for you for a long time, and decline that slot to a lot of other interested parties, then definitely, yeah, you're going to have to, like, you know, either lose your deposit or pay the full amount. But in a situation like where we've had the protests and someone's had to cancel, then I mean, it's just about being understanding because it's nobody's fault. So over there, you're just like, you know what? It is what it is. Then you still won't refund a deposit, but you will be able to consume that amount at a later date.
So, you talked about cancellations. Does last minute bookings even affect you?
Last minute bookings coming in.
Yeah. So, like, let's say if someone maybe would, as per se, maybe want makeup for tomorrow,
Um,
does
I
that
don't
affect
usually
you?
do very last minute because of scheduling purposes. If I'm available and my day schedule at the office and stuff allows me to take them in last minute, then I'm happy to do so. But generally, I do need at least a couple days notice so I'm able to like plan my day accordingly, and that usually works out well because no one's event is going to just happen last minute. You know what I mean? They will at least know a little bit in advance that XYZ is happening and I may need a certain service for that.
So, you also talked about having a contract that you and the clients maybe would go over and sign. Do other makeup artists have this
I
contract?
know a lot of people have now started doing that. I actually have a lot of friends in the industry that I have also encouraged to start doing this because sometimes people, when there's not like a contract put into place and a deposit paid, people may sometimes it's misunderstanding, sometimes it's just a disregard to your time, and then they'll just cancel last minute because they're not losing anything. So now I think majority of the people, in the industry do put into place some sort of a contract and deposit system.
So you mentioned, people, a big group of people in the industry. Now, teenagers maybe wanting to get into this field, being a makeup artist and all.
Mhm.
Do you think there's space for people to join?
Oh, definitely. There's always space in everything. There's always space. As long as you're willing to put in the work, then there's always space.
Okay, so the final question I think for today is, what's one piece of advice you would give someone that wants to enter the career, or that wants to enter, become a makeup artist?
One piece of advice I would give them: only do it if you're ready to really put in the work. And do it if it brings you happiness. Don't do it for the money, because then you're going to be disappointed. Do it if, it's something that you genuinely enjoy, and if it gives you that sense of fulfillment, then do it. Otherwise, it's not for you, because it's not as rosy as it looks on Instagram. It's a whole different ball game.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good thing. I think that's counts for everywhere. I mean, Instagram is a place that everything can look so rosy and
Yeah.
all that, but in real life, it's a completely different image.
Yes.
So yeah, I think you've experienced that a lot. I think maybe some of your clients may have gone through fake makeup pages, getting scammed. And is that a problem in, the makeup artist
Not
industry?
exactly fake pages. Maybe people have experienced that as well. I'm not aware of that, but fake work, in the sense, a, an artist has put up a picture that is so ridiculously edited that it's physically impossible to attain that level of perfection in reality, because it doesn't exist. So that's something that's happened to a lot of people, where they'll look at a picture and they'll be like, oh my god, I want to go there because it looks amazing or whatever. And then when they go, it's something completely different. And sometimes people actually will post pictures that are not their work as well. So I guess, yeah, that is just fake and misleading. So yeah, people have had that experience. And at least, when you're going to someone that's trusted, you know that that's not going to happen.
So have you faced maybe makeup artists maybe stealing your work and reposting it
Oh,
as
I've
theirs?
had makeup artists steal my work. I've had makeup artists claim they've been taught by me. I've had makeup artists entirely steal my style, steal my concepts, steal everything, honestly. My creativity, I've seen it all. Because you know what? At the end of the day, if I'm going to hide my work, then people aren't going to get to see it. If I put my work out there, everyone can see it. And if everyone can see it, someone or the other is going to, steal. I've had other makeup artists even have me do their makeup just to see what I am doing, what I'm using, how I'm doing it. And obviously, this was at the beginning of my career, and I was very young, and I didn't quite realize that that's what was happening. And then by the time I realized, it was way too late. And I can till today see in her work a reflection of my personal style and touch and everything. But you know what? It is what it is. Like I said, there's room for everyone.
All right, thank you, Rupa, so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us today.
No problem.
Yeah, so you can just put her on Make at Makeup and Me on Instagram. And thank you all for watching. I hope you picked up something, maybe learned something about the makeup artist industry. And yeah, thank you for watching. Please do subscribe and follow us on all our social media platforms. And yeah, thank you very much. See you soon.